give it up for our little mariachi on the ones and two, Justin Buffalo Knuckles.
What's up, guys?
And what a busy show that we have this week in the focus of the boxing world this
The wig is
Saturday.
looking good, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Got to cut. It's all
got-
ready for Vegas.
it's
And
ready
the paint
for-
job, Earl Scheib.
Yeah, you got old Scheib, and the Kim Jong-un lack of signboard.
And
but
right
whatever.
now, I am Jet Black Lee. All right, so
Big
anyway,
weekend, big weekend.
May 4th, T-Mobile Arena, we are in the zone. The middleweight championship is on the line. The IBF, WBA, and WBC belts are on the table, and Canelo Alvarez takes on Danny Jacobs. Mario, I believe this is one of the premier matchups on the boxing calendar. Two of the very elite blue-chip middleweights in the world, but I'm going to lay it right on the table. I think Jacobs is very good, but I think Alvarez is elite. I don't care what anyone thinks of the past decisions, any of the past controversies, but in terms of honing his skills and being at the physical apex and coming into his own as a complete prize fighter, Canelo, to me, is at the upper echelon.
Absolutely agree with you. When we were discussing just last week the mythical pound-for-pound list, I think we both had, or I might have had him a little higher, like maybe number 3, 4, but I think he's on the Mount Rushmore. I really do. And you know I'm a huge Canelo fan, just aside from the fighter, the way he carries himself and continues to work hard, and to me looks like he improves every fight with his defense, his punching combination. And listen, the people that are crying foul and controversial calls, we're talking about fights that were very, very close with Triple G, not where he was getting his ass whooped, and how can you give that to him? Very, very close calls. Yes, I do agree that I thought Triple G should have maybe got the nod in the first one, but we're talking like a 115, 113 sort of nod, and then the second one I thought could have either been a draw, but if I had to lean towards anyone, it was Canelo. So it's not like he's been at the end of these dubious decisions where it's, oh my God, how can you see it go that way? I think Jacobs, however, is his biggest threat to date outside of Triple G, merely because he's another guy who's a young, strong kid who's just off of his size. I don't know how he squeezes himself down to 160, but he's tall, he's long, he can box, and if he's not depleted, and according to Eddie Hearn from last week, who feels he can even knock him out, and of course he's a promoter, we know he has to say that, I think he could pose a lot of problems in a Arislandi Lara type way with his footwork and his boxing acumen to maybe befuddle Canelo for a while. I think Canelo has gotten better at cutting off the ring and will eventually get to him. And I think after he touches him to the body a couple of those times, it maybe sneaks up with that right hand that he usually finds, he does find and will come over the top with it. Then I think it's bad news for Jacobs. The irony is, I think Jacobs feels, or he should at least, that he does have to plant those feet in exchange with him if he wants to win this fight. He's been out there saying that he wants to make sure the judges are going to be honest, and if they're going to judge it fairly, he's already coming with this from this negative place. But if he wants to really make a stand and win it the good old-fashioned way by exchanging blows back and forth, he's going to have to exchange, and I think that's not going to bode well for him, because I think Canelo is the consummate counterpuncher in this regard. Snappy, precise, hits hard. I predict it's hard to predict. I predict a Canelo victory, okay? But I'm hesitating with the knockout because I got to see how much Jacobs is going to stand and willing to exchange. But I think it's a very competitive, good fight.
The three men on the spot, and you talked about the judges, Dave Moretti, Glenn Feldman, and Steve Weisfeld. And last week in studio, Eddie Hearn said, hey, we like those guys.
Yeah.
We trust those guys. We've gotten three of the best judges in the world. And the word that you use, to me, is the key. I'm with you. Danny Jacobs is a superior, bigger athlete. Maybe faster foot, but precision. Mm-hmm. When you look at what technique really is, one thing about Canelo, and I've seen a lot of his training video.
He is accurate as
not only that, yeah, you're right, an upper body movement.
Right.
He's become one of the really elusive fighters, and this goes back to the Austin Trout fight way back in 2013. I was ringside at the Alamo Dome.
Right. I was too. Really I happened to be at that fight.
Slick, athletic, black American fighter. He was slipping and sliding and dodging on the ropes. I was like, wow. I was like, I didn't know that kid could do that, and
you know,
it's only gotten better.
It was James Tony-esque, and I'll tell you another one that really impressed me in the same vein with his counter punches and his slipping and bobbing and weaving was when he fought Miguel Cotto.
Yeah.
Same way. I was like, oh, look at he just slipped that, came up with that big
That's where
uppercut.
the stereotype overrides the actual reality.
Right.
Because a lot of people think of Mexicans as hit and be hit, Mexican
No,
style.
he's never been that guy.
But look, you look at Canelo. This is a kid at age 28. I think he's at his absolute peak. And you look at Jacobs. You call him young, but he's really 32. And here's the other thing. Post-Golovkin, where he fought a very good fight strategically in losing against Louis Arias, Maciej Saluki, and then Sergey Derevchenko, I don't know he's been that dominant. In fact, to me, I think it's a slow, kind of steady decline. And now there's a hydration clause, which I believe was a key strategic move by Golden Boy and Canelo, so that he doesn't come in much closer to being a cruiserweight than maybe a light heavyweight. I do believe that will be a factor. But I'm with Oscar. I mean, look, there's a lot of times when a fighter makes it to the mountaintop, he gets complacent, he gets stale, motivation lacks. I get the sense with Canelo, he understands, I got a gift. I got an exalted position, and I understand the responsibility of being the face of boxing. That's probably what I really respect about him the most.
I've always said that. That's probably his most admirable quality in my eyes is that he has been so mature in the way he's handled his fame, his money, the position he's in.
Not everyone can handle prosperity.
Not everyone can handle, and he's prospered once he achieved that level, which is for a very young guy is very, very impressive. You look at the other young guys in the sport, even your Errol Spences, and they are not at the. First of all, I don't even think they're at the boxing level, number one.
Or box office.
But definitely not the box office. Definitely not with pay-per-view events. Definitely not with a resume.
Yeah.
Like, he's accomplished a lot for a young guy. And other guys, if you're comparing him to his contemporaries, there is no comparison.
Yeah.
So I think Canelo will have a great showing. I think it is a really good fight. Who knows if Jacobs comes and fights the fight of his life and lays it all on the line and goes for broke, could make for a very interesting, fun night.
In my view, distance and spacing is going to be key. If this fight is fought inside the pocket where they're pretty close to each other,
bad news for
in my
Jacobs.
view, like you said, Canelo's become a real sharpshooter. He's the more
Yes.
accurate guy. One thing I've noticed about
Short,
Jacobs,
crisp, hard
right,
combos.
and Danny
Yes.
Jacobs, when he lets his hands go, as the fight goes further and further into the late rounds, his technique starts to get a little bit wider,
Yes.
a little bit looser. He will leave openings for Canelo.
observation.
And I think, there is a possibility, in my view, that Canelo could score a late knockout, maybe with the body shots, but I do think he does, one way or the other, win this fight.